So hi, this is Ben Welter from PTV speaking, and I'm just recording a little video that is going to motivate you or to explain to you how the parallel processing of transactions can be handled with X servers from your application. What I'd like to show you is a little stress test. The stress test is based on various routings. Each one of these lines in this CSV file contains X and Y coordinates. And what I'm doing in this stress test is I'm picking up line by line. I will then create a single routing transaction that replaces the placeholders in this XML template, performs the routing using the local X server, and then picks the next line and so on. What I'm doing here is I will simulate a situation where 4 parallel users stress the service. That means in the end it will be there will be about 400 routings with generated by 4 parallel threads with each one of them 100 routings. So the current configuration of the server uses one so-called backend module. This is why we can see an instance ID with an index number 1. Here in the config file of my local xRoute server you can see the pool size of 1. And I will just use this batch file calculate extended route to stress my local server, though the server will be able to compute only one transaction at the same time. Here you can see that the numbers are counting, and in a few seconds, or let's say in about a minute or so, we will be able to compute those 400 transactions. As I already said, at the time the service will only compute one transaction. 3 of these transactions will always remain in the queue. There is a queuing mechanism that is configured to contain about 10 requests in the total number. At the moment we have about a third of all these transactions, and what I can also see or check here in the task manager is that the load of this machine is really, let's say, it's poor. So here we go, performance. There is still enough capability or capacity in the CPU and the memory that I could use, but it's not used at the moment, though the stress level from client side is 4 parallel threads. So we have about 2/3 of the transactions. And in the meantime, I can have a look at configuration file once again. This is a simple switch I can just use to increase the pool size to 4 or 6 or 8 levels, and I will do this right after this initial test. I'd say that we have about 3 or 4 routings within each second to be processed. One more very important information is, and now we're done, now we're finished. One important information is that I have used a pre-warmed service. So what I will do next is I will just configure this service to activate, let's say, 5 parallel backend modules. Then I have to restart my local xRoute server. Temporarily, this means I will have to shut down this page. Once the server has been restarted, I can access the page again, create some kind of warm-up phase, and then send my 4 parallel threads again. Of course, such a restart takes some time, could be 50, 60, 70 seconds. And then I will be able to benefit from the hardware that is available in my machine. I'm using an i7 processor with about 16 gigabytes of memory. So a pool size of 5 is not really the end. There could be even more, but I just want to stress Here we go. We see them, the pool, and then I can just restart, calculate extended route, and then we can see that it's counting the numbers. I already computed 25% of the transactions. Then after a few seconds we have already 50% of the 400. And finally it's about 75% of the transactions. And within about 1 minute we computed the whole stress. So what is important here is that you can increase the pool size according to the hardware that is available, the number of cores and the memory. And the other thing is it's not sufficient to increase the pool size on server side. You also have to be aware of that you have to implement a parallel multi-threading approach on client side. I can remember one customer who wanted to compute 1 million geocodings or transactions as quick as possible. He provided large environment with a lot of memory, a lot of cores, but he still sent one transaction after the other without implementing parallel threading. And that was a loss of performance, a loss of throughput. So please keep this in mind. That's it for now.